is all about. So definitely content plays a very important role and cannot be ignored today and even tomorrow.
Hi, so I'm from Mahindra Holidays, and if you're familiar with our product, we are in the business of timeshare. Timeshare is a category, it's not an intent category, so people don't go wake up and search for timeshare on a given day. So it's a evolved need that you really have to, so content plays a huge role for us in terms of generating awareness about the product and actually product interest. So what we have found, what works for us is content that builds desire around our product. So as an example, we've been really focused on the drone videos about our resorts, which really bring out the resorts in their extreme glory, and that creates a lot of brand pull for us. So content that creates desire for a brand really starts working for us, and then that starts influencing our effectiveness in the performance channel as well. We see our cost per leads go down when you lead with that kind of branded content. So, and again, overall, from an overall strategy standpoint, we definitely think, while this may sound hard, but we think quantity matters over quality. While we may be doing one great video or a content piece in a year, the virality of it might go viral, but then you have a limited shelf life, 3 or 4 days, and you're done. Given the proliferation of the channels now, we really believe in the concept that you need a continuous stream of content which feeds all of these channels, and you name it, the content channels are just immense now, that feeding all of this content channels available to you, it becomes an important strategy, part of our strategy also.
Hi, I'm Samyukta from Baskin Robbins. I'd like to turn this question on its head a little bit. I think content is something that's being used very loosely as a term and I think we're all guilty of it as marketers, as advertisers, as media professionals. What we forget with the advent of social is that if you have to go back to basics of how we all studied marketing, it always stems from an insight. So I think when your content is backed by consumer insight, you know who your consumer is, and you kind of forget a lot of times that, for example, my consumer is not that person who's just eating ice cream, and I can't focus on that person saying, hey, this is someone who likes chocolate ice cream, let me talk about chocolate to this person. For example, we were talking about mapping life events, and you were talking about young couples, a female who's expecting at that point in time and catching them at that point in time. Now that's the kind of content that's meaningful. And then the other part being, the second part is about, you don't want content that's continuously hard selling to you. You want content that is more educative in nature. You were talking about banking, right? If you can tell me what the tool does for me, what should I do with my money? If I'm a first jobber and I don't know what to do with my money, now I will be sold on to your bank vis-a-vis any other bank that is able to tell me what to do. So I think content has so many different layers, which I don't know if we are utilizing to the fullest today.
Great. Okay. Hi, guys. I'm from HDFC Bank, and there's a reason as to why I went last, because when it comes to banking, you don't think of a financial product to start with. You think of a leisure travel, you think of buying a vehicle, you think of having fun in the evening with family, and then when you need money, you say, okay, where do I get money from? Okay, that's when you think of me. But then if I wait for you, you have already made your decisioning, right? So as a content, it's very important for me that when you're thinking of fulfilling your dreams, I have to be a part of your fulfilling journey, right? So that's content for me. To get some quick numbers, guys, last 6-7 months, we did very actively content marketing, and we got, if I put you exact numbers, 6 million traffic in 6 months. 80% is organic. That's the impact of content marketing for us. One of the inferred result, we used to have, let's say, 150 odd keywords ranking in #1 position in SEO before content marketing. Any guesses what it resulted to, the impact of content marketing on SEO? Any guesses, guys? Well, it rose to 620 keywords in #1, including long tail keywords also, and because it's voice, long tail keywords is really increasing. Okay, so that's the impact of content marketing for us. And as Sangeeta rightly said, you have to have a brand purpose. Like for a bank, what's the value of money that I can educate you for, right? I cannot talk about best holiday vacations because people will be more interested in knowing it from the Club Mahindra guys as to what are the best vacations places, right? So whatever I have to impart content on, it has to be as educative, rotating around the brand purpose for a bank, which is more meaningful to the customer. And that's how, in a nutshell, what's content marketing for us is.
Because we heard Anup in the last session talking about thumb stoppers. Any views on long format versus thumb stoppers? Would any of you like to take that question?
So I think it depends from your objective to objective. Okay, like yesterday we had Friendship Day, Sunday, right? Now, if it's an ad, it has to be a thumb stopper ad. But if you are doing a long format content piece, okay, it need not be a thumb stopper because that is where you are doing a relatable, insightful video which has to be relatable to all of you, and it's a storytelling video with the least integration of your brand or a very organic or subtle integration of your brand, and that's where long format content is really working for us. And then, will you just stop at that? Or whenever whoever is engaging with the video of yours, that means he has shown some interest in your brand or some interest in the story. What you do is do a remarketing campaign to them and then try to get them to your own properties or try to get them to your products. I think that's where long format content is really relatable, and the content has to be engaging for the audience that we are talking at that point of time.
Well, what I feel is the long format content is really losing its shine now. When we launched the brand, obviously long format really worked for us because there was a lot of storytelling and telling the people what Jeep life is all about and what the Jeep vehicles are all about. But as we move more into the consideration phase now, I think the shorter formats work very well for us.
So you have a lot better chances of getting the short form content right and working down your funnel. So when the agencies ask us, what is the duration for this film, we actually don't ever specify what the length is. I mean, in whatever time you can tell the story most effectively, that really dictates it, whether it is you can do it effectively in 30 seconds or you need 3 minutes to do it. So we really never dictate what the content length should be. It really is really dictated by the idea itself and in which time you can tell the story well.
Question on the same topic. How important are customers in co-creating content with you guys? Do you guys create anything along with your customers? Do you see a lot of value in that?
I think customers have been a very integral part of the content they're living the Jeep life, and it's really worked very well for us. It's a long format, if I have to term it like that. But not only My Jeep Story, but even when customers participate in our experiential events like the Jeep Trails or Camp Jeep, the voice of customer plays a very important role in every content that we do. And Jeep is all about community building, the brotherhood.
Samyukta, would you want to add anything from your perspective?
Yeah. I mean, it's ice creams. So I don't think there's anyone in this room, I mean, show of hands who doesn't like ice cream. So there's your answer. Our people love Baskin Robbins. We're very lucky that we were very blessed. Our flavors are very rare and unique, which a lot of other brands don't have it here. So we do get a lot of even, I'm jumping to do it on their own just because they love certain flavors so much or they love the brand so much. And now we are utilizing this more intelligently to see how effectively we can be there in every moment of the consumer's life and the consumer's journey. So yeah, definitely we cannot do without the consumers. Topical posts now, because again that's staying true and relevant to the consumer life cycle. So again we're trying to create those moments of engagement which is not just talking about, oh, how wonderful my ice cream is, or how fresh it is, or how natural it is. You want to go a little beyond that because at the end of the day, I think nobody wants to know, nobody wants that sales story or that sales pitch. As much as you're tempted to do that, you have to keep holding yourself back and saying, no, let me educate the consumer, let me be a little more useful.
It'll be great if you tell us who do you consider influencers for your brand and what kind of role do they play in the marketing funnel currently?
So So we are a holiday brand, and in a given day we have almost 3,000 families holidaying in some of our resorts all over the country. So a lot of content, and that's a lot of influence that they are creating around their social circles. So our job really is to first harness that content that's already getting automatically generated with very little effort from the brand side. So we just pick up that. So having said that, we also use influencers in a way to amplify some of our social messaging. And now influencers today, it's very, can you simply trust your agencies which influencers they bring to you? So what I ask my teams to really go for, when you pick an influencer, go step deeper into what are their followers like, what are the demographics of the followers, what is their likes to shares ratios. So you get deeper for my brand. So that's how we select influencers as opposed to just going after people with a lot of following. So we're happier having micro or small, medium influencers with smaller following, but a lot more meaningful, tangible influencers that we use for our brand.
Very interesting.
Yes, I think how overall we have divided content is hero, hub, hygiene. Okay. So what happens is more of my content is between hygiene and hero. Okay. Hub is where I use the influencers. The influencers for me. I don't have a guy who is influencer in finance. Okay, yes, we have the, like let's say somebody from value research, somebody from money control will be an influencer for us. But you also have influencers, and we firmly are, it's very nascent stage for us, for everyone. We somehow, I think there is a lot of propensity being shown towards nano influencers. Okay, so these guys are having a follower of from 5,000 to 20,000, 25,000. Okay, they are not the millions of the world. Okay, but they are very cost effective, and we somehow feel that it shows more organically. There are also platforms which is helping us to, generally what you do is you, okay, so interesting concepts of influencers working all across. What has to be seen is how organic it is and how much of meaningful traffic it's bringing to us. Now, have we come across like China, who is doing more of recommended? It's yet to explore, but that's where we want to become. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyone wants to add anything?
I think just to add to kind of resonate with what both of you are saying, I think it's very important to pick your influencer very, very correctly. Because often when the agency or the media partner comes to us, it's usually with the fashion blogger, food blogger, blah, blah, blah. There's that whole, that whole set that people are carrying around saying this is what you should do. Very recently, without making any controversial statements here, there was a property, huge luxury property brand that tied up with an influencer with a very large following, with mass following, probably because somebody came to them and said, hey, you know what, this person has reach. Go out and get them, So that's like we're all very greedy when it comes to KPIs and numbers and ROI, especially, very loosely used term. And we've all at some point ended up making these kind of mistakes. I think very, very important that you qualitatively select. It's the same thing, like at my store, you want the same experience that I get online. So your crew needs to be trained in a certain way. Somebody was talking about Urban Ladder and the kind of excellent experience that they had, and that person was talking about Netflix, and that person was talking about how each of those pieces of furniture could transform your life. Very important that my influencer is somebody who's slightly above me, not like as much as like me as possible, but slightly above, so there's a little bit of inspiration and aspirational value. I think the second point is the influencer also needs to be someone who's again not selling something, because I think even that, as consumers, we are all able to see it when people are selling something to you. I'm just reiterating the same point, but again, how engaging my content can be even with the influencer to do a little bit more than what I was going to do at the...
I'd like to one additional point in terms of how do you actually use influencers well. Oftentimes brands sometimes become very force-fit, templatized on kind of, here's a brand tenets, and you got their influencers because they understand content really well. So what we learned is that you actually have to give them creative room. And that's when influencers actually start working well for you, as opposed to if you put very tight boundaries around what they can do. So just wanted to share that tip.
Other than awareness, are they currently for any of your brands?
Right. So I didn't speak on your previous question, but see, being from automobile industry, thanks to the auto experts who are already there, and they are celebrities in their own right. They influence a lot of decision making. So be it the auto car people or the Top Gear people. And that's why somehow the influencer marketing does not really impact the automobile industry the way probably it impacts other brands. Because there is a strong fan following towards the auto experts who are reviewing the car, and they do a fantastic job in terms of the performance, capability, cost of ownership, and so many other aspects of the brand. Where influencers really come in play for an automobile brand is when you're talking about lifestyle, what you can do with the vehicle, where you can go, which the journalist will not usually cover because they usually cover all the technical stuff. Influencers is your product itself. If your product is good, it will influence a lot of people. If your product is not good, nobody can help you. So.
Thanks for that.
Just to add on to it, so while Insta and YouTube have been a very significant influencing platforms, one platform that's really coming up is Quora in terms of influencer marketing. The right set of questions, very authentic audience, and if you can answer them at the right time and guide traffic to your place, I think that's also a winning positioning for you.
Thank you. Thank you. My next question is on performance marketing. How do you guys think brands should approach performance marketing, and what should be the, in your view, what should be the balance between brand building and performance marketing?
So, our learning, we are a very performance-oriented brand, and brand marketing and performance marketing is getting narrow and narrow. There's no longer, so we don't think of anything which is pure brand anymore or pure performance anymore. So they kind of work hand in hand together. So that's one part of it. Obviously, we lead with content, desire, build the, as I talked about the IDA model, really approach it from that standpoint, bring them down the funnel, and then serve them the right offers at the right moment. So programmatic, therefore, becomes an important part of how do you actually make that happen. So programmatic is a lifesaver. How do we use it? That in combination with using a MarTech platform, basically you're able to serve the right message, the right infrastructure takes people. Over time, you get there. So eventually starts working for you.
Okay. I completely agree with what you said. I think performance marketing and brand building go hand in hand and cannot be looked upon in isolation. Performance marketing definitely plays a very important role for us in terms of there's a metrics which where performance metrics marketing really helps you is on the conversion part of it. How good the quality of those inquiries is. Are we giving enough test drives? That is where the good quality performance marketing really plays a crucial role.
Since we are a little pressed for time, if there are any burning thoughts, please go ahead and share that. Otherwise, I'll move on to the next question. Okay. So since this session is about the road to 2020, what are some of the trends and opportunities that you guys see and that you would want to leverage in a little longer, broader time frame?
So something that we as a trend, 3 V's, right? Video, vernacular, and voice. Seeing across, Alexa's coming in, Google Voice is coming in. Okay, that's I think the trend that's really happening. How as a bank we leverage this trend is very important to see, because you have transcreation, you have transliteration, and you have translation, right? What do you want? You want to achieve scale, or you want to really have the panache of the content created and make the audience feel about it? So all those literally permutation combination have to be taken into consideration, and see that keeping the content authentic, how to reach out at scale to the right audience. So
really quickly, I think we talked a lot about influencer marketing. That will continue to be a priority as a trend. And then ORM, online reputation management, plays a big role in our world, not just listening in, but also using that as an opportunity to engage. There is so much opportunity and room there for us to continue to evolve there, so we continue to be focused there.
I think this year as well as next year, the auto industry is going through a lot of transformation. You've been listening about electrification, electric cars. BS6 norms coming in. And I think the way I'm looking at it, and influencers are going to play an important role in terms of educating the customers in terms of what BS6 is all about, what electrification is all about, what are the good cars, how do you choose a good car, because it's completely going to change the way people are going to buy cars in 2020 or probably 2021. So huge responsibility on digital platforms to educate customers in the right way, in honest way, in making their buying decision.
Yeah. So I think, again, as marketers, we always have this thing of what is TV going to do for me? If I want to build reach, I'm going to go on TV. If I want to, whatever, catch eyeballs as a reminder medium, I'm going to do outdoor. Print, whatever purpose that serves. You know, for an offline, we're all very familiar with. Offline, we understand, right? Very, very well. Each one of us sitting in this room. And for us, traditionally, I think, though we all talk about the fact that digital is the future, digital is here, digital is happening now, I think if truth be told, with the way digital is changing minute to minute basis, like hand on heart, I don't think any one of us has truly leveraged and said, okay, hey, I'm going to take 100% of my KPI on digital. Let me put, say, 80% of my budgets on digital, and digital will help me build my brand. Digital will help me drive people to my stores. You know, we still end up using digital. I think we're at the tip of the iceberg, the way we are using digital today. We're still right there. Not really. There are very few brands that have completely leveraged it.
Insurance, BFSI, e-commerce, digital has become one of the sales output out over there.
Still not that TV playing a much bigger role in their budgets than digital ever would. Digital is still the stepchild in this entire marketing mix, if I could call it that. It's not your prime. It's
Reach, yes, there is a multiple and combination. It's not either or. But if it's a sales-driven, hardcore, measurable, a lot of people like in BFSI, insurance has its entirely digital setup, which is completely sales-driven, end-to-end. No other output and no other touch point. So that's how the objective defines the platforms.
You have your large CPG, which is still resting on the laurels of your. So I'm just saying, none of us, I mean, most of us have not yet harnessed the true power of digital. Like, we're still talking for paucity of time. Again, it's going back to memorability of campaigns. So who doesn't remember the Old Spice campaign, or the Dove Real Beauty sketches, or the Coke, your Pakistan versus India, the whole, when they got people together. So I think emotion, engagement, those kind of content is never going to die. So to answer your question on short form, long form, it wouldn't matter. Because if my content is that engaging enough, it will get remarketed, it will get repurposed, it will do its job. So somewhere maybe we are complicating life by, just bucketing things a little too slice and dice.
Sure. Thanks a lot for that. We are actually out of time, but it'll be great if there are... No? Yeah, great. Then we're done.
All right then.
So thank you.
I'm going to request all our panelists to please remain on the stage. We're going to request all of you and present a token of gratitude to all of our speakers. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, we're giving a quick makeover to the stage because it's also time for our next set of awards. We've got 2 more awards to present in the next set, after which we'll have another very, very interesting presentation lined up for all of you. Now, to do the honors for our next category of the award, I'm going to once again invite on stage our jury member and also our previous session moderator, Mr. Suvjoti Ghosh. If I may please request you, sir. We're going to have just a couple of minutes of your time again. Welcome back. All right, so earlier we had made an announcement for the silver winner in the category, in the subcategory insurance under BFSI. And while we did announce the winner's name, the winner wasn't around, but we're not going to miss the opportunity for the winner to collect the trophy. So let me remind you all that in the BFSI category, in the insurance subcategory, the silver goes to Coco by DHFL Insurance by Socio Square. So let's have a round of applause. And let's have the team come on stage to receive the award. Just a second, we also have the goodie bags for you. And the next category, ladies and gentlemen, which is about the marketing achievers here. The next category is the Digital Marketing Manager of the Year. And the award goes to Gaurav Midha for Tanishq. Of Tanishq. Mr. Gaurav Midha. Thank you very much for doing the honors. Thank you once again. And with that, it's time for our next session before we move on to the next set of awards as well. We're going to get some insights on consumer obsession and social media for building brands. We have with us Meghna Apparao, who's a CMO with Godrej Consumer Products Limited. So I'd like to invite our next speaker on the stage. And can we do that with a huge round of cheer, ladies and gentlemen, for Meghna Apparao.
Sorry, it's just like blinding. Okay. So it's really nice to be here at 8 o'clock in the evening, full house. I'm going to take full advantage of it. The plan is I'm going to go through a short presentation and then open it up for Q&A. So let's see how this goes. To get started, this visual that you see, I think to me, one is a reminder of the rainy season outside, as well as we are in a beach city. The change that we see in the world around us, which is constantly disrupting itself, and so much happening out there, and how do we as marketers be able to leverage that and do something about it? In that context, how many of you have heard of VUCA World? Like, put up your hands. If you have heard of VUCA, the hand has to go like little up so I can see it. Okay, that's like 5 people, so I'm going to speak to it. Thankfully, it's all written there. So VUCA is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So I think this defines the world that we are in right now. And how do we leverage the work that we do in the best manner possible? And to do fantastic work to build brands in a VUCA world, the question is there a magic secret? What is that one missing piece? You know, what is that thing that we all need, marketer? To me, there's just one answer. Customer obsession. I'm saying customer obsession. I have consumer obsession written out there. It's quite interesting. Go on to Google, type consumer obsession. The only images which pop up are customer obsession. So if I use the word customer or consumer, I'm using them synonymously. Also, in my previous role, I spent about 5 years at Amazon India, building their grocery business. And there, the number one value or leadership principle is called customer obsession, where we go to work every single day saying, how do we do something that's absolutely perfect for the customer? And that is something that I have experienced through my entire career, is that one thing that we can do is to be customer obsessed or consumer obsessed. What I'd like to spend the next 10, 15 minutes is talking through some of my examples and leave you with some practical, very, very practical tips in terms of what is it that you could do as you go out and build brands across our country. For those of you who are very technical and want a definition, here's one that I like. Customer obsession means constantly listening to customers and continuously testing, enhancing, and personalizing the customer experience. To stay with that point, I think in the digital world, this is absolutely fundamental. The part about continuously testing, enhancing, and personalizing. There's no one right answer. Very famous. I have a daughter who is an early teen, and about maybe 6 to 8 months ago, she looked at me and says, "Mom, you're old." She just said, "You just declared like you're old." So I'm like, "Why are you old? Why do you think I'm old?" Because you're active on Facebook and you're not active on Insta. Only old people in her head were active on Facebook and not active on Insta. The immediate next thing I did was become active on Insta. So I think the definition of what is right, what is good, how are you with it, be it as a marketer, in the digital world is completely undefined. 10 years ago, 8 years ago, it was likes and shares, kind of average ages in the room. So I think this part about continuously testing, enhancing, and personalizing experience is what makes it very fun, makes it very exciting, but also keeps us on our toes. To say that there is no playbook and one definition, and we can just, it's there, and I just have to keep replicating it. So I think that is the coolness of what we do. It's also the challenge of what we do. I think the second one is also something that I find very, very interesting, and I would say one of the core things that all of us who do digital marketing must stare at and think about every day. Are we being marketing obsessed or are we being customer obsessed? I think the critical part is to be customer obsessed. And any and everything that we do, I think we must ask that question. Are we being marketing obsessed or customer obsessed? And always swing with being customer obsessed. I need to get a percentage in the room, so I have to see the hand, yeah? Pretty simple. On the screen, there are like 5 images. If you know either the real name of that person or the name of the character, whichever, give yourself 1 point. If you know both the real name and the screen name, give yourself 2 points. If you know any detail about that, like which you feel deserves a point, give yourself a 3rd point. So the part about this is there are 5. You can actually get maybe even 15. Yeah? So just go ahead, Tim. 2 if you know real name and screen name, and any other detail, 1 more. Okay. I want to see a show of hands on all of you who recognize all the 5 pictures, either by real name or screen name. All 5. 5 on 5. That's about maybe 50% of the room is about 5 on 5. How many of you got 10 on 5? Hands up? So one really brave person. So the lady in red. Yeah, go start. Can you give her a mic, please? We're just going to check and see whether she's cheating. So just tell one per picture, go for it. Who's that? What's that?
Game of Thrones,
Awesome.
Deepika Padukone, Will Smith, Rajnikant.
Seriously?
Tony
Seriously?
Tony Stark.
He is my favorite Avenger. He's dead,
I know, he was
but he's
mine.
still my favorite.
I'm forgetting his real name.
Thank you.
Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. So we know that she definitely got, she was kind of at 4.5, but she made it to 5, but over 5. So I think this is, how many of you got 4 on 5, got 4 out of these? Hands up. 4, give me 4 and 5. If you got either 4 or 5. 5 hands up. 4 hands up. I need to see like a really large number of hands up. There are a few people who really need to watch more. A fairly good degree of understanding. The profile of the people who are looking at most of these are people like us. So you are reacting more as a consumer, less as a marketer. You have a high degree of association with these images. Same exercise. Give you 30 seconds, rank yourself. No talking, it doesn't count. If the person next to you tells you the answer, you cannot give yourself a point. Okay, let's go for this. How many of you recognized any 3 of these visuals? 3 or more? Put up your hands. 3 or more. Okay, there are about 10 hands up in the room. How many of you recognize 2 or more? That's about another 10, so 20 hands. How many of you recognize just 1? If you guys don't recognize 1, you need to pay double the entry fee to walk in here. And you know which one I'm talking about. Okay, so I think this is very, very important. So there's less than 20% of people in this room who recognize even half of what you see on screen. Yeah, it's super critical. I'm going to tell you what these things are. Everyone in the room, what's the first one? Thank you guys. There were some people in this room who didn't know that. Whoever you are, you know who you are. You know your work to do. Who's this? This guy on the side, this dude. Wow, who's the brave person who's going to guess? Come on. At least one person. Okay, we are on 0. This has never happened to me before. The guy in the center, who's that? Thank you so much. I would have definitely killed you. I'm hardcore Telugu. He's my absolute favorite. Okay, let's go to the lady on that right, the top right. Someone says she's a serial actor. Anyone knows anything more than that? Which serial? Anyone knows which serial? Complete shocking silence. So that's called Kartika Deepam. It's one of the most popular, highest rated TV shows. Who's that lady out there? Clearly this is a Hindi speaking audience. Kartika Deepam versus Babiji, yes, that's Anguri Babi. So why did I get you to go through this activity? So coming from a company with consumer goods brands, FMCG industry, I heard the previous panel talking about where FMCG spends their money. This is what consumers are watching. This is Kesari Lal Yadav from Bihar, big show, very popular. Yeah, you guess the rest. So this is the content that our consumers are consuming. It's not just about this content, it's also a flavor of the kind of content they're consuming. So if we are going to go out and create content, be it putting social media posts, finding the right influencers, whatever else it is that we do, unless we find stuff which connects with them in this genre, how will we be able to act effectively? I think that is the question I want to leave behind with you. One more topic on this. There are 4 objects here, that's tur dal, jeera, tomato, onion. How many of you think you know, again hands up, how many of you think you would know the per kg price of these? Okay, lady in yellow, stand up please. That's tur dal, 1 kg is 45. Please buy me a kg of tur dal at 45 rupees. I will take 10 kgs from you. Anybody has a strong dispute against 45? Sir in the blue shirt. Same table, yeah? You definitely buy some really premium tur dal, and she buys like really cheap tur dal. Sorry, your name? Apekshit, closest. He also took a wild guess. It was very clear from his demeanor. Tur dal is about 99 rupees a kilo. As of today, just now on Amazon, you can check. I've done my research. Tur dal is one of those products that every single Indian consumer household buys. It's a very critical marker of pricing. And typically, people who are doing their household shopping in regular middle-class India, the same people who are consuming all this digital content will know it plus or minus a couple of rupees. They will not go between 45 and 180. Yeah? They're likely to be between 95 and 105. The reason I point this out is this is how our consumers think. They are price conscious, they know these details. These things are important to them. They're also the people who have these experiences or not this month. Can I afford to buy a gift for my mom or my brother or my sister or my kid? Do I have 200 rupees, 500 rupees to be able to spare to do that? Do I have enough money to fill petrol in my car or my two-wheeler rather? Yeah? And how many of us really have to stop and think whether you can order on Swiggy right now or not? The answer to most of these is likely to be no. Why this is important is for our consumers, all of these are super critically important. Consciousness and how it is important to our consumers. And I'm leaving this behind as a thought, saying our consumers, the ones for whom we are building brands, creating content, engaging them, are so different from us. They come from a very, very different reality than what we operate. A few of us would be lucky to work on brands which are exactly similar to the lifestyles that we lead. There would be some of you in this room who don't ever need to know about Kartika Deepam based on the brands that you're working on. But for many country, we've talked about a few nuances, but every single regional pocket, and in the previous panel, they were talking about regional influencers, micro-influencers, nano-influencers. How do we get to know who they are? How do we understand our consumer more deeply? So this is the thought I will leave behind with you, saying, I think if we get up every single day and go to work with this thing in our heads, saying I am not the consumer, but I'm the voice of the consumer, it will make us much more curious, open to learning, and the ability to stay connected and understand someone's reality for whom we are building our brands and creating our businesses. So there's one thing that you take away from this. Sorry. So I'm going to segue this into a few very practical tips. Yeah, very practical, simple tips on things that we could do as we build digital brands. I'm not going to show you fancy case studies. I think all of you are winning these fabulous awards. Very, very simple examples. In this digital world, our brands are present everywhere. We have like a gazillion, trizillion touch points for our brands. Our mobile phones are going absolutely everywhere with us. Anything you want to know, if you were super agile, when I asked you price of tur dal, you would have gone to your Amazon app, you would have typed tur dal, and you would have told me the price. All of that within like, I don't know, 10 seconds. Yeah? So that's how connected all of us and our consumers are. In that context, let's do this. Tell me one thing which you see common across all of these products, besides Amazon Basics, besides. Can't hear. Prime. Okay, anything else? Ratings. Who said ratings? 10 points. on 10 points. So I think ratings, or to make a choice. This was a screenshot of a random search term, which was not Amazon Basics and not Prime, and this is what showed up. The thing is that in this world, consumers are constantly evaluating. 5 years ago, is how do you get to know whether a brand is good or not? You would ask people around you, which is word of mouth from a closer group, an expert set maybe, but all of that involved some friction, some inertia. If I wanted to find out about, from my previous panel, about Jeep or about Mahindra holidays, what would I do? I'd have to go on. It's very high for us. In terms of saying we are omnipresent everywhere, how do we ensure that we are doing the right thing all the time? And as we come to customer reviews, I'm going to give you the tips part of it. What's in an image? Now, this is the question. How many of you think that the image, the gray image is the right image, white image is the right image? Yeah, I'll ask you the question, show of hands. How many of you think the gray image is the right image? Put up your hands. Okay, that's about 10 people who think the gray image is the right image. Okay, I'm going to ask the question again. How many of you think the white image is the right image? There's a significant majority who hasn't raised their hands for anything. I don't know what they're thinking about right now. But I would say, can you guys just stand up? All of you. These are those souls who are not standing up. There are a few who raised their hands and haven't stood up as yet. But rest of you, can you just clap for them now? Thank you. You can sit down. The gray image, do you think that was the right one? It's more common. That's what we buy. Okay. It was, the question wasn't about white and gray. It was about which is the right image. Okay, he said that's the way the original cable comes. Okay, anyone else? Why do you think the white image is the right image? Imagine both were white or both were gray. Awesome, great. So these two answers, original, that's what Apple stands for, I think, in the same zone. White is signature color of Apple. Absolutely perfect answers. Well thought as marketers. Absolutely brilliant. Branding cues on point. The thing is, if you want to sell this product, this is a real example from Amazon. We got about 90% returns on that product. 90% of the people are returning that product. The customer reviews were like 1 star. It was from an authorized seller, so product quality, all great. Now I want you to take a guess. And there were no problems with this one. Stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Somebody whistle. No, like whistle for him, please. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, you can sit down. So that is the reason. Because this image showed the right cable length. So people were buying that, thinking that it's like a really long cable, but actually it was a short cable. And we were just getting 90% returns back. And how did we figure that out? Was simply by reading the reviews, the people who were giving us 1-star reviews, and they were saying that I expected X meters and I got half of that or quarter of that. Yeah? So this is just a thought to leave behind. By the way, I would have thought exactly the same as you. That's branded, that's beautiful, that's how it looks, that's how I represent my product. But as we think of cues that the consumer is looking for to identify your brand beyond the branding elements. Very practical tip, very simple tip, and a live example. So that image is super critical in terms of how you represent your brand. Next one. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think the previous panel talked about nano influencers. Don't know whether you can see, but this is a brand called As It Is. And show person who built this brand, which has become significantly large-sized on e-commerce. One of the biggest things that he had done was this. This is a whey protein brand, Delhi, Punjab, that kind of region. He just gave his enthusiasts and got them to post videos. That's all he did. And they were the strongest influencers in that region. And within 3 months' time, he was selling about 10% of what the biggest brands, which are well-branded, and was selling in this segment. I think that was a very, very big lesson in terms of saying this is just not about nice-to-do stuff. Done right, with the right influencers, you can actually build big brands converted to actual trial and purchase. Massive levers like this, if you connect it back to what I was talking earlier about being the product placement, to be able to generate content which drives purchase, is something which I've seen to be very, very, very possible. It's hard work because this is not available very easily. Some of this are not tried and tested. And how do you actually reach these people? And how do you ensure that you're doing a great job? But the proof is in the pudding in this example that I've shared with you, and I've seen many, many such examples. And now a strong proponent of, let's call them nano influencers, done in the right way to build brands. Okay, back to questions. Paraben-free, no parabens. Yeah? Let's say there's a product which doesn't have parabens or is paraben-free. Which terminology will you use? Okay, show of hands, please don't cheat on this one. You have to pick either this or that. If you don't pick, okay, that's like 15 people. No parabens. How many of you think that's right? That's a large number, and there's again a bunch who's like not putting up their hands, but I'm going to forgive you. So a large number said no parabens, a smaller number paraben-free. Those of you who said paraben-free, can you tell me why you think that's right, please? Anyone? Your shampoo says it. Okay. Anyone else? Paraben-free? Okay. Anyone else? Can't hear. More hard-hitting. Okay, great. Simpler to understand, visually stronger. Louder, louder. Okay. Anything else? Urdal, so you already rock, don't worry. Anyone else? Anyone else? So you like negative or you like positive? Paraben-free. Okay. Absolutely brilliant answers. Some of you, obviously, half of you got it right and half of you got it wrong. I'll tell you why. But before I tell you why, I can tell you that none of you got the right reason. Yeah? All of us, in all of these responses, none of you, please don't feel, take it personally, have reacted as marketers, not as consumers. I'll give you the answer. So this was on a product wherein it was launched saying paraben-free. XYZ product, the title was XYZ shampoo, paraben-free and sulfate-free actually. We'll figure out what parabens and sulfates are later, paraben-free and sulfate-free. Again, 1-star rating, 2-star rating. You have to listen to this one. You will roll on the floor laughing, like complete ROFL is going to happen. I've got my shampoo. Thank you. It's 8:30 in the evening, so for those of you who didn't get it, I will complete the sentence. I've got my shampoo, but paraben और sulfate जो free आना था वो नहीं मिला. This is not a joke. XYZ shampoo, paraben free, sulfate free, 1-star rating. Shampoo तो आ गया, paraben और sulfate नहीं मिला. No paraben and no sulfate, and that brand is Wow Shampoo. You can read the title, that's exactly what it says, and it's the #1 best-selling shampoo.